Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the channel. We are in Zion National Park this morning, hiking along the beautiful Virgin River. We took the shuttle bus up here that you're required to do this time of year because they don't like to have people driving up here except in December through February, I think. Now, the Angel's Landing hike, along with the Half Dome hike in Yosemite, is known as two of the diciest and scariest climbs in the national park system. Both of them have lotteries. You have to sign up for them. For Angel's Landing, there is a lottery that you can sign up beforehand. They also have daily passes. Good morning. Unfortunately, I tried for one day pass and I didn't get it. I just missed the lottery because I'm a bad luck kind of guy. If I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have no luck at all, as they say. Anyway, and then the next day I tried to do it again, and I was told that they are doing maintenance on the poles and chains they have up there for security. They go in and they check them every now and again. But unfortunately, we're on a maintenance cycle. So what I'm going to do is hike all the way to Scout Lookout, which is most of the way. And then from there, I was told by the ranger that there's an alternate hike. You can keep going, skip Angel's Landing, and you can come to another area that's equally gorgeous. The good thing about that is we get a nice view of Angel's Landing, which is awesome, so that'll be fun. I think it's about 4 miles to Scout Lookout, and then we'll hike beyond that. And surprisingly, even though it's a day when Angel's Landing is not open, the trail is still plenty crowded. One of the things you'll notice as we leave the Virgin River and start climbing up is the path is kind of paved, or concreted, if you will. And that harks back to the day when, they always tried to make everything easier to do in the national parks versus today when they want to make it more natural. But this trail to Angel's Landing was built in 1926. And since then, there have been something like 19 deaths at the dicey Angel's Landing trail. And then I think in 2022, they started requiring permits. And the idea was to make it a little safer. And I think that's largely been effective. The ranger told me that when it peaked out in the non-permit days, they would have up to 4,000 visitors per day using the trail, which is way too much. Currently, with their permit program, they're limiting it to 800 hikers per day. Now, I'm not sure when Zion became a national park, but I'll put that date below. But I do know that a fellow by the name of Walter Roosh was the first superintendent of Zion National Park. And he's the one that built this trail. Well, he's the one who authorized this trail to be built. In 1926, there is a place up the trail. Good morning, how are you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
There's a place up the trail. We'll get to a series of switchbacks, and they're known as Walter's Wiggles, named after the original park superintendent. So there's the Virgin River down below us, peaks on the other side. This beautiful, massive thing in front of us. I should point out we're shooting with a wide angle, so we can see everything, but in person, these things are much larger than they appear. Well, I'll see you guys up the trail. Oh, look at the folks up there.
It was great to meet you.
Yeah.
Paul, you said.
Yeah.
Great to meet
And
you.
Cheryl
Yep.
and Dave. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, there's Cheryl and Dave up there. I didn't realize the camera was on. I was talking to him. But anyway, and you can see how built up it is. And that wall is built up right there. And then we're going to continue on. All right, here's that nice view looking down. You can see the Virgin River. If you look way in the distance there, you can see the shuttle bus heading down the canyon. Here's a beautiful view of the switchbacks below. Folks coming up. To be honest, I have no regrets that it's paved because it's super steep. I had no idea it was this steep. Somebody's definitely thought out the drainage on this trail. This falls here, goes under the trail, and over to this culvert over here, and then down. Just me talking to a stick, I'm not crazy. Or I am, but talking to the stick is not what makes me crazy. But if you're going to talk to a stick in Zion, people are going to see you. Is this Walter's Wiggles?
I'm guessing.
Yeah, I thought.
Seems like it must be.
Here's another nice view of the switchbacks below. Really amazing. And you look across the canyon. All right, we bust out of the canyon into the sun here. That spire right there below us, that's pretty cool. So what's interesting to me so far about this hike is that all of the hype was about Angel's Landing. I didn't realize though that the hike itself is really awesome. This is Scout Lookout. And this to the right is the trail to Angel's Landing. So maybe they allow you to do, I'm sorry, that's not in good light. There we go. Maybe they allow you to do part of the trail to Angel's Landing. So of course we're gonna do that. Okay, as expected, I think I see the closure up ahead. No, that's just a warning sign. So maybe we're not to the closure yet. So I think I mentioned it earlier, but the trail is closed for maintenance on the poles and cables. It doesn't say anything about the closure. There's no ranger up here. Okay, here we are at the beginning of the Angel's Landing trail and just looking down into the canyon, and you can see the Virgin River and the road down there as we pan around. And then the river's in sunlight over there. And then Angel's Landing is up to the right up here, but we can't actually see it. Or maybe that's it up there. Just under the tree there. Okay, so this is the view just above Scotts Junction on the West Ridge Trail. Just to the right of that flat top is Angel's Landing. And then the trail you see coming in from the lower right along that knife edge ridge. And then you can see some folks gathering down there. That's as far as you can go right now. But as we continue up this way where those folks are standing, it is called the West Rim Trail. So that's where we're gonna head now. All right, so we're continuing on the West Rim Trail. And it's rocky up here. As you can see, it's not paved anymore, so it's a little bit more natural, which is cool. But it's really beautiful. And as we look back this way, you can see Angel's Landing. That's just right behind that tree there. And there's the flat top thing that's next to it. And there's the canyon that we came up, the opposite side of it. And then we're gonna head up this way. All right, well, the pavement kind of ended, or the concrete ended back there, but then it picked up again. So I guess we're not quite done with it. All right, folks, well, here I am on the West Rim on the now whitish color. I guess it's Navajo sandstone. You can see the flat top peak there. And then to the right, the one in the sun there with the sort of flat top and the steep right-hand angle. That is Angel's Landing. And then this peak behind me is one that we see, I saw it from the valley floor, and you can see down below, it's more reddish. And the way I understand it is the water comes through and leaches through the sandstone, and it leaches the iron, and the iron flows down. So the lower part of the mountain is more reddish, and that's why the upper part, when you look around here, the upper part is more reddish. And you can see variations. That up there is kind of, it's more red, it's kind of mixing, and then it goes to white, and then there's more of a clear delineation here with the red on this area here. And then you can see over there, that top of that one's kind of reddish, and then there's that bright red face there. So that just means there's iron in it. And when it's white, there isn't iron in it. I think this is a kind of a great stopping point. I'm going to show you over there, the Angel's Landing. What I'm going to do is just zoom in with the camera with the zoom lens and show you a better look at that knife edge ridge, which you can see just goes up to Angel's Landing there. I think the point I would make today is that if you don't get to do Angel's Landing, you absolutely should do this hike because it's really gorgeous and the views are just unbelievable. And you get to check out Angel's Landing. Oh yeah, notice the checkerboard pattern on that peak over there. That's pretty cool. All right, one thing I forgot to talk about is elevation, temperature, time of year. I'm here now in mid-April and the climate is amazing. It's gonna be probably 65 degrees today. It's been colder because a storm passed through, but today is really pleasant. And you can do this hike all through the summer, but it's going to be very hot in the summer. Not like Death Valley hot, but still very hot. And the reason it's not quite like Death Valley is because it's higher. This hike starts at about an elevation of 4,200 feet and goes to, if you do Angel's Landing, or if you go to here, it's about the same height. That's about 5,700 feet. So you're going to climb 1,500 feet in less than 4 miles. So it's a pretty steep climb, but it's certainly manageable. So the best time of year is probably April, May, or October, November. But if you're here during the summertime, you certainly can have a good time. And of course, the Narrows is a great activity to do in the summertime because you are in the water. Consider that. And if you do choose to do this hike in the summer, the tip is to just leave really early and try to catch the cooler temperatures. Unfortunately, the climb is on the east-facing slope, so you're going to have early sun. So you're not going to beat the sun, but you can beat the heat by starting early, and then when it gets hot, you're heading down and it's not so bad. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I sure did enjoy this hike. I recommend the hike, but if you can't do it, at least you can watch my video. I want to thank you all for coming along. Until next time, thanks for watching.